Can you believe it? Here we are. What a happy day. It's not in the bag, as we know. It's not technically full-blown impeachment, but you know what? It may as well be. And here's kudos to Johnny from Moonride. I had to wear my Lord Have All the Mercies t-shirt. And also, big ups, Dave from Moonride, who said this is a game changer, the Ukrainian stuff. And I was like, oh, will anything move this along? You know, I just see it as another significant wound, absolutely significant wound. But it was enough to push Pelosi over the line. And as she said, it's something people can understand in a bite-sized serve. So regardless of the fine print, awesome. It's so exciting. And my new cards arrived yesterday. So these are the Le Grand Circus and Sideshow cards. I saw them on Tarot's Apprentice. He is our tarot librarian now, it seems. He has so many wonderful decks. And what could be better for the circus? You know, so those are the cards I'm going to use today. This is their debut outing. I'm so excited. I'm just so thrilled. We all needed a breakthrough. And you know what? It's a double whammy for the equinox, because Yeti 2, Boris Johnson in the UK, just got slammed by the equivalent of the Supreme Court. There was an emergency meeting of High Court justices. It was illegal for him to suspend Parliament, and I don't think he can even appeal. It was a unanimous decision of 11 justices. Good luck with that, Boris. So Yeti 2 will not be there long, as I've said, since he got the job 5 minutes ago. So back to Trump. Oh, I'm so excited. So I'll do a little reading on Trump himself, and then I think the GOP handling it, and then Biden. The Biden stuff's a bit tricky. I'll get to that. Okay, let's focus. How's Trump going to react to this? We know what he'll do. It'll be a flurry and a storm of tweets. But he must be desperate. I'm sure you've caught up. He actually rang Nancy and said, hey, Nancy, this Ukraine stuff, you know, what can we do? I mean, can you believe it? Can you believe the hide of the Yeti? And she, of course, said, just make your people obey the law, and hung up. I mean, what else could you do? You know. So how's Trump going to handle this? Because I don't think he's got as much rock-solid support as he used to in the Republicans, but we'll get there. This is Trump himself. Let's see what the circus cards have to say about the world's most powerful clown. We're off and away. Oh, the Empress, how charming. The double act. Yes. All right. So, in the center, the Empress. A different depiction than in usual cards. The Empress in this context, I think, this might sound strange, but I'm hearing alter ego. Normally, for me, Trump is the Emperor. And just a bit of tarot background, viewers. The Emperor in tarot tends to be a very rigid authoritarian figure, and the Empress is a softer figure. But he gets in the middle, the Empress. So I think this is his alter ego of trying to well, he'll try and make it go away, but that's not going to happen. He'll try and bill himself as what America needs, you know, and it's not going to fly. Speaking of flying, on top of him, the Two of Cups. Speaking of flying, okay, so he's hand in hand with, I think, Giuliani in this. I think this is Trump and Giuliani. Giuliani had a great legacy, and he decided to blow it because he wanted to go in with the trumpet. I think this is going to bring Giuliani down. Now, we've got the Six of Wands here, slightly behind the scenes. It's there will be conflict behind the scenes with the Republicans. When I get to that section, I'll explain a bit more about what I think this card is referring to. But for now, this is heavy-duty news for the GOP. So underneath the Nine of Cups in the other decks, this is the smug merchant. So this is, if you look at Trump's line here, sorry, I've got the screen up. This is the Empress with the bunnies on the shoulder. Like, I mean, he's more of a cartoon character than ever. Giuliani, as I said, but this is the Nine of Cups, the smug merchant. He couldn't conceive really of this ever happening. I think he's on 73-year-old, heading towards dementia, not the sharpest tool in the shed at the best of times. I don't think he's digested it yet. I seriously don't. He sees himself with the power of the elephant and invincible. He hasn't really got there yet. The Seven of Pentacles, this is going to be a problem. The money that has changed hands, the money that he's fought all his life for, the money he's squandered, the money he tends to make. When he does digest it, he still only sees it in terms of, does this mean I'm going to lose money? He has no moral core. It's staggering. It's absolutely staggering. And then the outcome, the Three of Discs group work. So he's going to be frantically, as we speak, trying to find his allies, GOP. All right, so to sum up that section, it hasn't really penetrated his Neanderthal skull yet. Sorry about Neanderthals. I'm actually quite fond of Neanderthals. It's just hard to find images for this guy that aren't an insult to animals, reptiles, or other things, isn't it, really? So let's have a look at the GOP, because they now have big headaches. And there's this interesting new group. As we've been watching everything else, I didn't realise even until yesterday that actually 40 Republicans have left since he came in. Early retirement, needing to spend family time. These guys are quality dads, right? Awesome. Teach the 4-year-old how to shoot so they'll be good Americans. They're going to be wrestling with this. And a few of them have come out and formed a weird little organisation, Republicans for the Rule of Law or something. And they're the ones who have put out these ads, I don't know if they're out yet, about Trump's corruption. So they've already been proved right. And they're only a week old, you know. So what's the GOP going to do? What's their reaction? Have a look here. Oh, the High Priestess, hidden agendas. The Hierophant, Judgment. Oh dear. Well, the Popess, which is the High Priestess here. their hidden agendas are actually about to be not just exposed, but to be useless. The things they've relied on and still do rely on, like gerrymandering and vote rigging and right-wing shock jocks and telling lies, they paved the way for the liar-in-chief. All of this is at the centre of it. It's actually at the heart of it. That's the Popess in this, and this is the Pope. This is the Hierophant. I would just use the phrase law and order, and this is what they have seen themselves doing as the one who keeps control and keeps things ticking over. But this is about to be savagely attacked. There's a message here from the younger members, the Page of Coins, from the younger members of the GOP going, this is unsustainable and we're not totally convinced of your old way of doing things. So there's going to be a split within the GOP that's going to magnify over time. I think even there might be enough of them to actually formally pull away and sort of rename the party or something. It could end up being that dramatic. Judgment is on their heads. The trumpet call to America. This is short-term celebration, the announcements today being trumpeted. But let's hope also in the future for 2020. But they are being judged because from this point on, they are defending someone who's obviously guilty of so many things. Short-term outcome, King of Wands. This will be someone who rises to the top in the GOP. Because it's the King of Wands and not the King of Swords or something else, I think this is going to be the reasonable voice of the party is going to prevail, not straight away. Short term, they're going to scream and shout and defend, but they're going to peel off and there will be a new King of Wands emerge in the GOP. We have the Queen of Wands too. When you have pairs, it strengthens the meaning of these cards. I think this is Pelosi, and I think the King of Wands in the Republican Party will be moving closer to find some common ground with the Democrats, possibly even helping get rid of him. Oh, lordy, lordy. Now, guys, before I do Biden, and I think the Biden stuff's really important because he could get dragged into all this, and that is going to have a real impact, I think, on Biden's chances of election. But let's just take a moment to savour what is happening. And I really suggest you taking a few days off and just relaxing and having a good time and rejuvenate and recover, because they're using all the R words, because you need to keep up the resistance. When this euphoria passes, there is more work to be done, but it is absolutely in the works. Now, by now, because I have such exceptionally well-informed onto it viewers, most of you will be aware Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, was somehow involved with a nefarious company in the Ukraine some years ago. What Trump has been fishing for in these 8 phone calls, look into Biden's. Did he abuse his power as vice president in 2016 to stop an inquiry into that company? Now, some of you have already pointed out, and I've seen myself on some more in-depth news programs, it's not as straightforward as it seems, in the sense that the bank that was launching the inquiry was in itself corrupt in Ukraine, and so Biden didn't personally do anything for his son. He was asked by the EU as the US representative. In other words, it's not as crooked as it initially appears. You know, Biden's son may have done nothing wrong and Biden may not have abused his power, but I'm not entirely convinced. What was he doing? All right, so let's look at Biden right now, because it's almost not enough to be right if people don't hear the fine print. You know, let's see. Biden. How's this going to impact Biden? Because they're going to be looking very closely at all this. Funny old things. Business and trade over the water, 3 of Wands. This is the deal. Oh, look, he could be lucky. He could be lucky and get away with it. But look, the rest of these cards are not good for Biden, and they're not good for Hunter Biden. They're not good for the storyline. Okay, business and trade over the water. Oops. The 4 of Swords traditionally retreat, but not in the most comfortable fashion. So Biden would like to walk away from this and not deal with it again. I think he was quite stressed by it when it was happening in 2016. So this is respite under pressure. You might say, I love the image, don't you, viewers? Look at it. So he cannot speak about it. He can try and hope it goes away, all those things, but this is not a comfortable card. Nor is this. The 3 of Swords, heartbreak and betrayal. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Now he gets 2 knights. So the Knight of Swords, which is the vengeful knight, that has more than a passing resemblance to Giuliani. Now, because Giuliani has dug himself into a hole and half filled it in himself and only now has a breathing tube up into the outside world, he's going to attack Biden big time, is my prediction on this. I think this is Giuliani, but this is the vengeful knight. So this could be him, or it could be henchmen of Trump's who remain. Their numbers are dwindling, so they're going to get more vicious and more hysterical in their defense of the Yeti. But from Biden's perspective, this is the Dems' Achilles heel. They are going to go Biden, right or wrong. His outcome is the Knight of Cups. It's a benevolent card. He might well be able to pull it off and still go forward. Personally, I'm sure the squad and others in the Dems are thinking, you know what, he's emblematic of the old order and what hasn't happened in the last 20 or 30 years because of, you know, the Dems' centrist position. Looks okay, but this is an active thing, so I'm going to have to read on it again as it unfolds. So let me just do a clarifier on this outcome for Biden. Outcome for Biden. Oh, the Emperor on top. Trump on top of Biden. So I think the pressure is going to be so immense and muddying the waters sufficiently. People, by and large, don't follow the fine print. It was like bar killing the impact of the Mueller report with his actual misleading statement. Misleading or not, that's the emotional reaction. And the Knights are emotion. So I think this is going to crush Biden himself, and it is a headache for the Dems, but could be a blessing in disguise. It means they might have to go for someone else instead of relying on the teddy bear. We will see. So viewers, I have to go so I can load this up and be part of the party. I'm hopefully connecting with Tarot Whimsy in the next few days. Okay, bye for now.